We've been waiting for a long time for another episode. What happened with the 3-day break? Is it the lack of ideas for more episodes? Aren't you happy, Blondie, that we actually have audience that pays attention and notices that the break was longer? Because wouldn't it be terrible if we haven't posted for 8 days and everybody would be like, oh, there they are again.
Or they just
made no difference.
Yeah. Or they just wouldn't even notice.
So I see this as a compliment to us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
People were waiting, they're missing us.
Mm-hmm.
So should we tackle the question and answer why?
So yeah, they'd walk straight through here basically, and like this diagram's not exactly to scale, but they'd walk up, and there's going to be a red carpet that we're going to roll out as well, and then the officiant's going to be there in front of there. The family is in this, as well as a dog. They have these palm fronds that are like 8 feet tall that each family member is going to be holding as like a chuppah.
Do you mind being on our vlog?
I do not mind at all. Wait, right now?
Yes.
He's always vlogging.
Wait, we can't say anything yet until after.
Oh, he
No,
won't
it's
post
not going to be
this.
published
Okay,
after,
okay,
so no
all right,
worries.
Good.
So your name is Jen,
Yes.
and you're with Baltimore Country Club. This is where we are right now. And why do you think this is going to be a super special event?
Well, we've definitely never done this before at Baltimore Country Club or anywhere around here that I've definitely heard of. So
You mean a
it's
surprise
a
wedding?
surprise wedding,
And
it's their
the
second
couple
wedding.
is,
Yeah,
the bride is 70 years old.
it's gonna be awesome.
How old is the groom?
I
Is
think
he
around
older?
there too.
So it's
Right
going to be
around
her
there.
70th birthday party. It's
Yes.
turning into
Officially.
It really is
Yeah.
her 70th birthday. 2
And-
days after the wedding.
And you said it had a lot of cool elements planned?
It does. It does. There's a dog involved. There's a
favorite
lot of
part.
family members involved. The entire family's in on it, but all of their 120 other guests are not. So they're going to be completely floored halfway through. and it's
So
gonna be
now
really
we
cool.
can mix this footage with the footage from the actual wedding, because we're filming it and we're photographing it this Friday, and we're recording this on Tuesday. Today is Tuesday.
Yep.
So in 3 days, this is pretty crazy.
Oh gosh, makes me nervous.
Not-
All on a holiday week.
Yes, but it's gonna work out. Nothing happened really. I mean, life happens. Sometimes you just have to pay your bills, and when you're pressed for working more, then you have to work more, and it's a little bit of a difficult spot to be in, because we absolutely appreciate you guys supporting us on Patreon and on Patreon, and we definitely want to keep delivering content. So it feels bad if we can't post for a few more days than the regular break, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. You just, there's actually a reply under this question already, which says in English, no, it's just life that you have to make money for to be able to live, and
That's exactly it.
and that's it basically. Sometimes you just
Bait, David. You should stop doing that because I'm noticing it. See?
it's double stabilization.
Okay.
Dzisiaj jest bardzo doniosły dzień w USA. Thanksgiving, czyli po naszemu święto dziękczynienia, tak się przyjęło. W zeszłym roku nieskromnie powiem, że zrobiłem film o Thanksgiving i Black Friday, który szczerze mówiąc całkiem mi się podoba. Uważam, że był całkiem niezły. A w tym roku nie robimy nic specjalnego, ale tak sobie pomyślałem, że trzeba zaznaczyć ten dzień i chociaż pokazać stół, przy którym będziemy siedzieć. Jesteśmy zaproszeni do naszych znajomych w Filadelfii, Karoliny i Rafała, i tradycyjnie już, bo to chyba 3. raz, jak tam się znajdziemy w ten specjalny dzień, robią dość wystawne przyjęcie i takie porządne, jak na polskie Thanksgiving, to jest to bardzo amerykańskie Thanksgiving, muszę przyznać, więc przynajmniej trzeba żeby sprawiedliwości stało się zadość, pokazać stół, przy którym będziemy dzisiaj biesiadować. Od rana nic nie jadłem już, żeby sobie dosyć miejsca zostawić, bo wiem, że będzie na poważnie. Cień, gdzie się człowiek nie odwróci, to jakieś Coś tu nie działa, to światło dzisiaj.
Nie spaliłeś go? Did you burn?
It's a smoke one. No, it's just the outside.
smoke.
It's gonna be nice on the inside.
To jest ten wędzony?
Never did this before.
What would...
No disclaimers. Come on, no disclaimers.
So that's basically it. Sometimes you just have to, you know, you just have to work.
To work for other people and not for yourself.
You just have to work. Like work that actually brings you instant profit. Because at this point, the YouTube channel is bringing us a little bit of a profit. It's marginal. Let's face it, it's marginal. It's nothing that can make enough of a difference in our lives to stop doing other things. That's the best way to put it. It's nowhere near there yet, but we definitely want to keep working on this channel, keep developing it, and maybe one day we'll get to that point, you know, who knows. Another person actually wrote in the comments that there are YouTubers that actually threaten people that they will stop posting completely if they don't support their channel on Patreon. Stuff like that. Isn't this a little bit too much of a manipulation?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, while you do this for the people on YouTube, you also do it because you love it. And while we would love to just stop doing other business things and do only this channel, it's no one else's responsibility but our own then to make that choice.
I think people are just always looking
Not that
for
choice, I guess.
Right.
It's just then they have the ability to do such a thing.
Yes.
It's not your responsibility to pay our rent, our car payments, our insurance payments. It's our responsibility.
Absolutely. And I think some people are just looking for an easy way to live, and you know, how great would it be if I'm just gonna keep running with the camera, posting videos to YouTube and have enough profit from that to actually drop everything else and live comfortable life. And you know, granted, there are big YouTubers out there who have gone way past that goal, but getting to that point when you're starting from zero is just not easy anymore. Those times when you could just keep posting whatever and just let people have that because they're used to being with you on YouTube are over, in my opinion. I think so.
I don't think they're over.
I think
I see channels.
You don't agree?
Well, this is the thing. I see channels where I believe that is the premise behind their channel, but they already got to those subscriber amounts that allow them to do that. So maybe during that period of time when it was the golden days, they got there, and now they're there and everything's steady, and we just didn't get there during those.
Muszę zavlogować to na żywo zaraz, jak się zdarzyło, bo potem zapomnę. Wyjeżdżam właśnie ze sklepu Lowe's, który ostatnio nadmieniłem w poprzednim vlogu, ponieważ mnie zaskoczyły dekoracje świąteczne, które już się w nim znajdują. W każdym razie dzisiaj byłem w tym sklepie po zakup sprzętu, który jest potrzebny do ogarnięcia, obejścia dookoła domu w najszerszym tego słowa znaczeniu. I pani, która asystowała mi przy kasie, zapytała mnie w pewnym momencie o nazwę projektu. Mówię, że nie ma nazwy projektu, bo to jest po prostu nie jest żadna profesjonalna robota, to ja sam sobie robię. Nie, ona musi tam wprowadzić nazwę projektu. Mówię, myślę sobie, no nie zdarzyło mi się coś takiego wcześniej, bo czasami tam może i cię pytają o nazwę projektu, ale jak powiesz, że nie ma projektu, to po prostu idą dalej, ale z jakiegoś tam powodu nie mogła przeskoczyć tego kroku. No i w pewnym momencie zaczęła już tak wzdychać. Poirytowana. Nadal nie mam nazwy projektu, ale za tam drugim czy trzecim pytaniem mówię jej, no to wpisz tam cokolwiek, nie wiem. Zimowe docinanie drzew. Co tam chcesz? No obojętnie. No dobra, jakoś się z tym wreszcie uporała. Zapłaciłem i w momencie, kiedy drukował się paragonik, zaczęła wołać swoją koleżankę. Raz tam jej nie słyszała ta koleżanka, za drugim razem wreszcie podeszła i w tym momencie pani mówi do niej: słuchaj, czy ty możesz mnie stąd zabrać gdzie indziej, bo ja mam unikać stresu. Więc biedny Dawid sobie myśli, no nie wiedziałem, że jestem tak stresujący. Co ja tak w zasadzie zrobiłem? Przecież to nie moja wina, że system się 3 razy pytał o nazwę projektu, a ja nazwy projektu nie miałem. Na drugi raz trzeba coś wymyślić szybciej, żeby była nazwa projektu przygotowana, żeby pani nie miała stresu. Nie wiem, czy historia jest na tyle zabawna, na ile była w życiu osobistym. Po prostu odchodząc od kasy w Stanach, jest człowiek przyzwyczajony do tej takiej aż zanadto uprzejmości. Have a nice day, happy holidays. Wszyscy się uśmiechają. A ta pani po prostu w ostatniej fazie tego check-outu całego mnie dosłownie zignorowała, mówiąc do swojej koleżanki: Can you please take me away from here? I'm supposed to avoid stress. So when Casey was getting to 1 million subscribers, he said the best advice he ever heard from, what's the name of the British YouTuber?
Was it? He's not British. Rowan?
Yes. Rowan Atkinson is the actor.
That's why you think he's British.
I was like, this is
because you were
not,
thinking of Mr. Bean.
This is not.
Roman Atwood. That's why you thought he was British, because you were thinking about Mr. Bean.
That's how well we know our own industry.
No, but now you recognize the name.
That shows you how closely we follow all the big people.
But he's just not our. He's like does a lot of pranks and stuff.
Yeah. No,
And
yeah,
we're
of
not
course,
into-
we're different. Yeah.
Well,
No.
that's just not what I would.
No pranks here.
That's not what I mean. I just mean I don't care about watching people like make their wife think that their child fell off the balcony.
That was a brutal one, that's true.
But I understand that he has people who like that. It's just not my thing.
So anyway, Casey, when he was getting to 1 million, said that the best advice he ever got from Roman Atwood, who was bigger at that point, was just keep uploading. And I just don't think it works like that anymore. I think,
However, it depends on how you take that information. Just keep uploading. You uploaded that video of what does Polish sound like for an American person. And if you weren't just uploading, you wouldn't have had this video that seemed to do well.
well, it worked because I'm just smart.
So you did that on purpose? I thought you told me many times that it was a fluke.
Shut up. No, I actually do think that the viewers are smart and you can't just feed them anything anymore. And I do see this in the comments that people often reference other vlogs where people literally just pick up whatever from their daily life. You know, this is my breakfast, this is my pajama pants, now I'm gonna watch TV, oh there you guys are. And I think people are starting to walk away from these, you know.
Are they?
Maybe there is this element of I'm used to you and I just want to see what new happened in your life, but you have to make it a little bit interesting, man.
I don't think people are walking away from those.
You
I
can't just
think
eat
that-
an avocado all day long and this is your vlog for the
I
day.
don't think people are walking away from those. I just think that you and your channel and what you have different goals than those channels. You just don't want to present that type of content, but people aren't walking away from them. That's just not your style. Your style involves more storytelling.
And this way we're getting to the second part of that question. Are we out of ideas? Oh my god, no, we're not. We have so many ideas that there is no room for the rest of our lives to implement them all.
The problem isn't being out of ideas for the blog, it's having to use ideas to make money, right?
Yes, and also implementing them is a different story because some of them require more than just turning the camera on and pointing it at ourselves. You know, there's many ideas that would require just a bigger enterprise, bigger investment and more time. So they're just not that easy to film. And as far as ideas for the regular daily episodes go, we just take them from our lives. You know, people that we meet, people that are placed on our way, and sometimes we seek them out if we have some specific idea that, you know, we think is really worth filming and bringing attention to. And sometimes it's just stories, and when nothing happens and we recorded some shitty content, we just don't want to put it out there because of what Roman Atwood said one day.
You just don't want to just post.
No, I don't want to just post.
I see what you're saying.
That's it. W takich momentach człowiek po prostu żałuje, że nie nagrywał, że nie ma ze sobą jakiejś kamerki, która by była, która by zawsze nagrywała i potem można by na przykład sobie tak skoczyć. Żałuję, że nie ma na sobie jakiejś kamerki, która by zawsze nagrywała i potem można by na przykład sobie skoczyć, powiedzmy tam 5 minut do tyłu w dowolnym momencie i zachować ten tam powiedzmy okres paru minut przed 5 minut. Były takie projekty nawet na Kickstarterze, kilka razy widziałem, tudzież w innych miejscach, ale chyba żaden nie doszedł do skutku, tak mi się przynajmniej wydaje. What do you think about this Thanksgiving dinner? Is this what you're used to? Like,
I'm ready to eat.
So that means shut up and leave me alone?
You have food?